hear me? Can you hear me, sir?
Very, very loud and clear.
Oh, wow. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you so much for doing this with me.
Thank you so much. The honor is mine. I mean,
yeah.
as they say in Yoruba,
I didn't get that.
You don't understand that one?
No, I didn't. And it was actually breaking. I think the internet reception at your hand is poor.
I said, money ààrẹ ń pè ọ́, olóhùn dífá, bífá bá fọre, táàrẹ ò fọre ńkọ́. The ààrẹ is calling you, and you are telling the ààrẹ that I am busy with the oracle, but the ààrẹ is the boss. So that's the idea. So when the boss is calling you, you don't say no.
Boss, Thank you so much, sir. Like I was educating the followers, your fans, that you've received hundreds of awards and honors for your works in the world of business and politics, literature, and of course in fashion and music industry as well. So thank you so much, sir, for joining me. And
my pleasure.
You're welcome on our Instagram live session. I was telling the followers as well that I refer to you as my eminent Egbon.
Thank you.
Always publicizing my work. I'm forever grateful. Thank you for your guidance. Thank you for always advising me. Thank you so much. Thank you.
That's the least we can do for our very dear bro. Yeah, that's the least we can do. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. So for all those who are wondering why he's on the show today and why I brought him on the show, I feel that it is important for me to bring you on the show today because of the credit of your caliber and your high profile and the knowledge that you have when it comes to Yoruba at large. And the answer is not far-fetched, to be honest, because when I started doing a lot of research and all of that, it shows that you are someone who is a supporter of people's development. I'm one of those, and you love people's growth, and also you are someone that can refer to as the Afenifere linguistically. Because for the love of progress of others as well, so which also I'm enjoying from, and you are a mentor by excellence. I must chip that in as well. Thank you so much for doing this with me again.
My pleasure.
Yes, sir. So from the standpoint of your career as a journalist and how you've excelled tremendously, and that has reflected in other dealings of your works and also in your political career. You have sacrificed and laid grounds for what is called democracy today. And I would say that you fought beside Chief M.K.O. Abiola and others like him, others like you, who also fought alongside with you. And I feel that it is important for us to bring you on the show today, which is the basis of our show with you today. There was nobody that could feel that money pay a bummy, she honors the public. So
no
you are
problem.
welcome again. You are welcome again, sir.
Thank you.
So first off, I would like to extend my public condolence to one of your sisters and a respectable citizen of Nigeria, that is Ibidunni Ajayi Ighodalo, who happens to be a business associate with me, and her husband, and a notable pastor who has given me also the opportunity and the honor of coming on my show, Real Talk with Kike. And it's such a sad moment for us all across the globe. And I know that she means a lot to you as well. So, Egomi, and I know passing on was a distress to you and more so to the world. but we can only pray that God will comfort the family of Pastor
Amen.
Ighodalo Ajayi as well in this trying
Amen.
period, because I know it's a challenging period for him, even though he has displayed a lot of strength during this period, and we have to emulate that, because what else can we ever ask for, you know? So again, I say, Ekpele o, Ọlọ́run jẹ́ ká ríro eléyìí.
Amen.
Ànífojú sunkún ara wa o.
Amen. Amen. Lórúkọ
Yes,
Jésù.
yes,
Thank you so much.
amen.
Thank you. Yes.
Yes, yes, sir. So maybe let me give you an open floor if you want to greet our people, the audience, your fans, because everybody has been going on. We cannot wait to have him. So here you are, sir.
Good evening, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. I am your brother and probably your son, depending on your age group.
Yeah.
And I'm reaching you live from Lagos, Nigeria. I like to describe Lagos as the heart of Africa. That's where everything is happening. We're the New York of Africa, you know.
Absolutely.
So I'm here on this special program, Real Talk with Kike. Kike is my beloved sister and Aburo. She shows a lot of respect to people. So you can see the way she was talking about me as if she was talking about Denuga or Dangote. I'm just Dele Momodu. I am a colleague. I'm a journalist like her. I'm a colleague. So if your colleague invites you, you can't say no, because then we have no reason to invite. It's just like what Pastor Itwa said. When people were saying, oh, how could he have officiated at a funeral at the very morning his own wife died? And he said, how do I preach to others if I can't preach to myself? So it's the same attitude we must take as journalists. If journalists don't respect journalists, then how can people respect their profession? So that is why there is no journalist who can say, oh, I called Dele Momodu, he was rude to me. Whether you are younger, you are older, it makes no difference to me. That esprit de corps must be obeyed. And that is why I am on this program. The moment you called me, I told you immediately, I said, no, I must come. So I want to thank all of you viewers. I know more and more people are joining now, and more will still join. So thank you for listening to me. I hope whatever I have to say, you would enjoy, you'll be entertained, and you'll be educated. Thank you so much.
Thank you so
Madam
much,
Kike, for having me on your show. Thank you. Yes, it's a sign of respect. Respect gets respect. It's a sign. That's me.
Thank
That's
you.
me. Thank you.
Sir. Thank you so much for that intro. So let's just go straight to the business of the day. So I know that in June 12th, and 1993, which was about 27 years ago, many of the youths now don't have a grasp of what happened then. So can you please use this opportunity or this platform to educate them, especially now that they are clamoring for a political position?
Well, as you said, 27 years ago is a long time.
Yes.
And I was one of the media campaigns. I have to find a way to summarize it. The story is very long, so I have to find a way to summarize it. I was one of the media campaigners for Chief Abiola.
Yes.
Apart from that, I was an adopted son. He told the whole world that I was his son, and I was privileged for him to have said that. And so I gave all my soul to the struggle. I was not in Nigeria on June 12, 1993. Chief Abiola had sent me to Vienna, Austria, where Chief Gani Fawemi was getting the Bruno Kreisky Award. So I left Lagos on the night of June 9th and got to London in the morning of June 10th, and then connected from London to Vienna. Chief Fawemi's award was on the 11th. So I spent the night in Vienna, same hotel with Chief Awemi. He was shocked to see me. Chief Abiola gave me a special congratulatory message to him, which was a letter. And so on the 11th, we had the award proper, the Bruno Kreisky Award. And on the 12th, I left Vienna back to London. So I was going to spend a few days in London. Then on Sunday, the 13th, I called the Concord newspapers in Nigeria, and they told me, oh, there's no doubt chairman was going, we called him chairman. Chairman was going to win the election. That's from what they were getting, the collation from the field officers. And I was very excited. Then on Monday, the 14th, I called Prince Nduka Obagbena, who is the publisher of this day newspaper today. I called him, and he said, oh, Dele, I've been looking for you. Where are you? I said, I'm in London. Then we didn't have mobile phones like now. So it wasn't a period when you could just phone anyhow.
Anyone.
So he told me the reason he was looking for me. He said, if I can reach Chief Abiola, I should tell him urgently that he is going to win, no doubt, but the military will not give it to him. I said, Dumba, it's not possible. How can a man win election and then someone will sit down somewhere and say they are not going to give it to him? You see, but the lesson I want to draw from this in retrospect is that maybe we were a bit naive about Nigeria. Maybe we did not know that some people own Nigeria. In every society, there is always a mafioso. The mafia controls everything. Usually, there are not more than maybe 10, 12 people. We have them in Nigeria. Till today, they control Nigeria. And you will see that that's exactly what happened. I don't know why President Babangida then decided to annul the election. I've tried to find any reason whatsoever for it, because that was the best election ever held in Nigeria. It was the fairest election ever held in Nigeria. It was the most incontrovertible election in the history of Nigeria. So you would have expected that they will allow Chief Abiola to take power. A lot of things that we're suffering in Nigeria today, maybe, perhaps, we would have escaped them. And I will give a few examples. One, and which is very uppermost in my mind, is the issue of unity of Nigeria. On that day, June 12, 1993, Nigeria established that it was a united and one indivisible country under God. Two, on that day, there was nothing like election rigging. Today, election rigging has become the order of the day. On that day, there was no thuggery. We did not hear that people were maimed or people were killed. Chief Abiola won nationwide, won even right in front of his rivals' territory in Kano, Alhaji Bashir Tofa. He won the election. So it is inconceivable that such an election would be annulled. But my own personal, how would I call it? My own personal analysis of the situation was that members of the Nigerian mafia persuaded and possibly coerced the then president Ibrahim Babangida to annul the election. You see, Chief Abiola used to say something that the bigger the head, the bigger the headache. So the more powerful you are, the more powerful your enemies.
Absolutely.
I hope you are following me. So as powerful, as influential as Chief Abiola was, he also had powerful enemies within the system who vowed that he will only be president over their dead bodies. Of course, President Babangida will be the fall guy as the leader. The leader takes everything, whether good or bad. So these guys connived, colluded, collaborated against the best election ever. And from that moment till today, Nigeria lost paradise. Everything that could go wrong, as in Murphy's Law, everything has gone wrong since then till today. And there is no redemption even in sight. So for me, the young people must learn their history. The young people must learn their history. I personally have never been a member of any mainstream political party. I've always been in opposition in one form or the other. And the reason is that I believe in what I call processes and procedures. For you to get somewhere, you must start from somewhere. You must prepare for your journey. From preparation, there will be readiness. Maybe you want to go to London or you want to go to Dubai. You start by preparing that I want to go. So you call your travel agent or the airline, or you go online, you go to the website of the airline, and then you book your ticket. From your ticket, then you plan the day you want to go. So if you have people at home, you are leaving your children, you prepare them, get things so that when you are away, food, everything is ready, and there is security, and so on and so forth. Then readiness is the day you now go to the airport. And there is a procedure, even at that. At the airport, you bring out your ticket, you go to the desk, check-in desk, they check you in, they do everything. So for young people who say, yes, we want politics, it's the same process. You must prepare. And before you run, you must be absolutely sure that you are ready. And when you are ready, you must also be prepared for every eventuality, whether you make it or you don't make it. Because in every contest, only one person will win. So there will be a winner and there will be a loser. And when you lose, you must take it in good faith. What I've realized is that in Nigeria, there's always a conspiracy. There is always a conspiracy theory in Nigeria. For every person, every man or woman who dies, a witch or a wizard must have killed that. If you have headache, a yellow share, somebody is after you from your mother's family or your father's family. It's the same thing in politics. When people lose elections, whether rigged or not, the ready answer is that I was rigged out. So which means some of us don't even have the democratic temperament to go into elections. And that is why you have to resort to fisticuffs. You see people, they cut people's head, cut people's neck, and you will never see their own children. You will never see their own children. We no go agree, or we no go agree, it's other people's children. So for me, my experience so far is that maybe we were stupid in our generation. We thought we could put good people in power while we stayed back. But after going through the rigmarole of politics in Nigeria, you have to navigate and meander your way through the labyrinth of Nigerian politics. I realized that our situation was like, instead of things getting better, it's always getting worse. So Chief Abiola fought vehemently against the military. He refused to compromise his mandate, but he lacked enough firepower to challenge the military. In fact, before we knew it, the strategy of the military was divide and rule. It's still divide and rule till today. Is to make it a north-south affair, then even make it smaller by making it a Yoruba affair. They reduced a national mandate to a local mandate. That's one of the reasons why they were able to get away with it easily. So there were those of us who were fighting. I was probably the first person to be detained at Alagbon before Babangida left. Babangida abandoned power to Shoneka, who was made the Chief Ernest Shoneka was made the head of the interim government. But Chief Shoneka was allowed in the interim to stay only 3 months when General Sani Abacha struck and took power, under the pretext that they were going to take power, flush out the Babangida guys in the army, and then hand over to Abiola. But it was a complete scam. So we believed them, but they say if you believe this, you will believe anything.
Anything.
That was what happened. That was what happened. So then, when I was picked up, Chief Abiola escaped to London. I was in detention at Alagbon when Chief Abiola escaped to London. And I managed to reach him. And I told him that, Daddy, please don't come back. And he said, why not? I said, because I don't want them to kill you. If they kill you, that's the end of the struggle. But the military started deceiving him from that moment. They knew for as long as he was outside, it was more dangerous than being inside. So they told him, oh, don't worry, come back. In fact, the day he arrived, they allowed his plane to park at the presidential wing, making him feel like the president in waiting. Then they allowed his motorcade. He went in a long convoy from the airport to his house off Toyin Street, the Mushroom Abiola Crescent. We were there, but we didn't know that they were only deceiving us. So eventually, to cut a long story short, by the time Abacha struck, a few days after, some of Abiola's biggest supporters were persuaded by the Abacha government to abandon Abiola and abandon the struggle and follow them to power. And that was what happened. The first to go was his own vice president, Alhaji Babagana Kingibe. And I got wind of that about 3 or 4 days. It was a Sunday morning. I remember vividly. It was a Sunday morning. I went to see Chief had sent me to do some things, and I came back to deliver those things to him. And he told me, Dele, have you heard? I said, heard what, sir? He said, Baba is leaving us. I said, who is Baba? He said, Baba Gana Kingibe. The next, also my big Egbon, who I love so much, Uncle Ebino Topsy, Chief Ebenezer Abatokwe, also said he was going to join the Abacha government. Alhaji Latif Jakonde, Baba Kekere also joined. So that was when I knew that, yes, the game was over. So there was a meeting in Abiola's house that evening where politicians were trying to justify why they must join Abacha, blah, blah, blah. If they don't join, it's better to go and fight from within. Either they were naive or they were selfish, but that was the general consensus that night. And they advised Abiola to go and see Abacha, negotiate with him. He went to see Abacha. You would have seen a picture where Chief Tinubu was behind them. Abacha and Abiola were walking out of government house, and then Chief Tinubu was behind them. So at any rate, Chief Abiola had to fight on his own with a few of his lieutenants. By the first anniversary of June 12th, he had to do something significant and symbolic. So he decided to declare himself president. Of course, by doing that, he was going to be charged for treason anyway. I don't know if it is called treasonable felony, but he was going to be charged for treason. I'm not a lawyer. And then he went into hiding. He had to hide because then they would have picked him up immediately. He was in hiding for about 13 days. And he came out of hiding on the 13th day. I remember we went to pick him from Senator Wahab Dosumu's house in Surulere. That was the last place he was hiding. And then we went to Shita Playground in Surulere where he addressed the crowd, and from there we drove to the house. And you won't believe it. By the time we got to Toyin Street, we saw a pool of policemen and women. They were waiting patiently like vultures. And then Chief's motorcade drove, it was in an open jeep, they drove into Moshood Abiola Crescent. When we got there, of course, we had a sea of heads, people waiting, eating, drinking, dancing, joyous, you know. And we thought they were going to form a human shield so that the police would not be able to arrest him. If you have that kind of crowd, you will have to kill so many. If it was abroad anyway, that is what would have happened. You know, the police would be afraid of too many casualties. But in this case, they waited patiently for people to go. As soon as people ate their food, they started going home. And so Chief told me that I should also go home to go and freshen up and come back later. So I went home. By the time I got back, the police had already surrounded the house and they would not allow me to enter. I didn't have a phone. There was no mobile phone for me at the time. So I went somewhere to a business center on Allen Avenue and called Chief. And when Chief picked my call, he said he's been told that Sonny Abacha was going to arrest him at about 1 a.m. in the night. And the last words he said to me on earth, I don't think Sonny can try it. Oh, that was what Chief said. He never believed that Abacha was going to arrest. How do you arrest a man who won an election fair and square? And that was how they arrested him, and then the struggle started from there.
Thank you so much, Egbomi, for casting our mind back to history and educating us, because I know that there are loads of people who don't know this. I don't know if it's possible for you to create a book or publish a book regarding this.
Yeah, I'm reading all the comments. You see, let me say, I won't say I've been lazy. I'll just say I've been very, very pressured, stressed, and also extremely busy. I've had to juggle too many things. I hope that I will find the time eventually to write it. Some of the major participants are even already dying. That's the sad part of it. Someone like Dr. Orefalomo, who I believe was a mine of information on Abiola, it would have been a gold mine of information. He has died. I hope I can also speak to some members of the family and they will agree to speak to me, starting from Kola Abiola, who ran a lot of operations for his dad. Then maybe the eldest daughter, Mrs. Lola Abiola Edewo. Then the wives, Chief Mrs. Adebisi Abiola, Dr. Doyin Abiola. Then Afsat, definitely. I'll find a way to reach out.
To them.
I think it has become absolutely necessary to put a book together. Yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah.
So someone is saying that you continue the story, then we won't leave here today.
So, of course, he's going to shed more light on a lot of questions that I'm going to ask him. So while you were talking, I know that you were talking about when people gathered in his home. One notable submission I picked from your recent interview on how Chief M.K.O. Abiola was arrested is the fact that Nigerians, and even including the youth, do not have a staunch loyalty for their freedom fighters, and which is one of the key reasons why I believe that you should come on this platform, because I know that you've described, and I quote, I hope I can remember properly, that armed personnel that came to arrest Chief M.K.O. Abiola in his residence had to wait patiently till the crowd
Thinned out.
the crowd disappeared before they were able to enforce the arrest. So, and you also said that in countries like China, the crowd wouldn't leave
I
his,
wouldn't say
his own
China.
residence.
I would say I said foreign countries like America.
Okay,
Yes, you have that.
okay,
Hong
and
Kong, which is also just a part of China. Yes, in Hong Kong we saw
yes,
the recent
yes.
demonstrations.
Yes, and that they wouldn't leave the resident. And if our own people could do that, maybe the story would have been different today. So, can you use this opportunity to explain to the loyalty culture? Because I believe that that is exactly what is missing with our youth today, because they believe that they have to be motivated by immediate benefits and not long-term goals. And those are the things that they need to understand. So, sir, can you please help to elaborate on that, or to share light on the question I just asked?
Yeah, you see, it's a catch-22 situation. It's not 1+1.
Yes.
Sometimes you want to blame people, but when you look at it more closely,
Mm.
it is difficult to blame our youth in good conscience. When
Mm.
you combine mass illiteracy plus mass poverty, what you will get is a deadly combination. So the first thing they did was to cripple our education under someone like Chief Obafemi Awolowo. God bless his soul.
So,
He made education free and compulsory.
mm.
So that is why you will see that the Southwest was ahead at a point in matters of education and development. Wherever you have good quality education, there will be development. Check it all over the world. Wherever you find mass illiteracy, there will be underdevelopment. There will be ignorance, there will be diseases, there will be famine. Because the people, they are just there, they are hopeless. They don't see any solution to their problems. So,
sir, wait, sir,
what?
if you say that, sorry, I'm cutting it. If you say that, sir, so how do you describe democratic growth since then, bringing it back to our
So
own
that's why
time?
I'm telling you that some people deliberately designed or redesigned or misdesigned Nigeria in a manner that the people will become mere tools in the hands of politicians. It was deliberate.
Around
It was not something that happened fortuitously or whatever. It was deliberate. They deliberately did it. That look, how do we enslave these people? How do we turn them into zombies? That's what happened. To turn a people into a zombie, the first thing you must do is to remove their brains. Yes. So they turned people into zombies, but it's backfiring now. You see, they can only use that up to a point. The Yorubas have a saying, "Taba kairu inu eru abaje."
Ben.
When you count the slaves and you say, okay, how many slaves do I have today? The slaves will get angry at some point and they will kick. Even when you are riding a horse, how come that you are riding a horse and then the horse will just flip over and then you are gone? That's what is happening in Nigeria now. If you see the level of insecurity in some parts of Nigeria, it's as a result of that deliberate crippling of people's right to knowledge. So those people now, if you preach to them, their lives is like they say, a man who is down fears no fall. Their lives cannot be worse than where it is right now, so they don't care any longer. They are ready to die. That's why you see suicide bombers in Nigeria. Have you ever had, when we're growing up, did you ever, a Nigerian will kill himself for what? You will tell a Nigerian, go and die because of religion. For what? It will tell you, why can't you die yourself? But
Exactly.
today, you will see 6 people in mass suicide. Boom, 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 boom. They are shooting them. They are still bringing out guns. They are ready to die. Why? Because they don't see any value for life again.
For life again. Thank you so much
So
on that.
we've made that mistake, and we're paying heavily for it now.
It's sad. Thank you, sir, for sharing all that information and analyzing it that way, because obviously politics now seems scary. So for me, I think another question that I need to ask is that our youth definitely needs awakening, and majority seems to think that once they can entertain, or they can become stars, or what's it called, or fame, so to speak, that is fulfillment for them. Is that really enough?
You see, it's much more complicated than we are looking at it. But for me, the lessons I've learned, and that is my concern on this program, and I want those who are watching me to learn it, is that I remember the last election, a lot of young people came up. We had Showore, we had Mogalu, we had Femi, and we have Feladro Toye, and others. But how well did they perform? Yes, people will say there was rigging. Yes, it's possible there was rigging. But the lesson I learned in 2011, which I want to transfer to those coming behind, is that you must play in a big party. You need a platform. Even Donald Trump, with all his money, had to go into the Republican Party in America. There is no independent candidate who has ever won election in America. So how can an independent candidate win in Nigeria? You understand? So
Yeah, I understand, sir.
I am telling you, my dear sister, that the problem lies with us by not being realistic, by thinking that Nigeria is ripe. Nigeria is not ripe. I've told you, some people deliberately crippled our education. It's deliberate. So on the day of the elections, those who know that Showore is one of the best candidates, or whoever they think, even a Donald Duke, will still collect that 1,000 naira, because they don't see beyond that 1,000 naira. They believe politicians, if they get the economy, they are the same. After today, we won't see them again. Well, let me chop this one. At least I can buy Gary. That is the mindset.
Poverty mentality.
So, and I've recommended it on different programs, let Nigerian youth begin to infiltrate, penetrate, and proliferate the 2 top political parties.
Thank you.
Let's go and fight. If you will win an election, let me tell you, whoever is going to win the next election now must be the one who has the ticket, especially at the national level. Maybe at the state level, a third force can work. It's worked before. Like when Olusegun Mimiko won on the platform of Labour Party in Ondo State. But at the national level, it's more difficult. So you need to get the ticket of either of the two. That's why you see that even in Edo State currently, where the governor and his former chairman are fighting, the only party the man could go to was PDP. He could have gone to Labour or anybody, but he will not have,
or SDP or something.
He will not have that platform. He needs structures. You need structures to win an election. He said they are not allowing them to pay. No, there's nobody who wants to join a party that they will chase out of the party. That's not true. If I want to join APC today, in fact, they will be too happy to have me. If I want to join PDP today, they will be happy to have me. So, if you think you want to fight for Nigeria by becoming the leader of Nigeria, please do the right thing first. Get a good structure. You may not get a perfect structure. Even Buhari tried AMPP, Buhari tried CPC. Where's Buhari today? Buhari is in APC. He could not win. He wanted to have a party of saints, but his saints were limited to a particular region. Sometimes you need bad people in politics because it's a game of number for you to win. There is no saint who can win by being supported by saints today. Let anybody contradict me.
Oh, wow. Thank you. Thank you so much, sir, for that. And I think that, I think I need to get a pen. Elima can get me a pen because there's loads of questions that was actually dropping in my head while you were talking.
Someone is saying the parties are influenced by the Godfather. It's because you don't have enough people yet. When you have enough people, you'll be able, even the Godfathers will be the ones pleading with you. The Godfathers are not stupid. They know the number. Why do you think PDP was begging Godwin to come last week?
Yeah.
Because they know that the governor would have what it takes to win the state for them. And the APC, because they could not put their own house in order, they lost the governor last week.
Yeah.
Maybe some people are saying maybe they are hoping they can rig, they can terrorize the people, but I'm telling them that Edo State is different. That one I know. My father hailed from Edo State, even if I'm more of an Ife boy, but I'm still Edo by blood, and I know that Edo people, they are very principled people. If they try to rig there, they will just set the whole place ablaze. So the best thing they can do is to just allow a free and fair election, and then whoever wins, they should give it to him. Edo State is not going to be easy.
Of course, yes. Of course, yes. So before I start picking some of the questions from our followers or our listeners, I think that I need to ask this question for the youth, because I know that our youth keeps saying they are marginalized in representation and what's it called, participation of politics. So, sir, do you think our youth are ready, considering the fact that they don't understand history, or they cannot tell where he or she is coming from, and they cannot even have the direction of the future? I stand to be corrected, but I believe that you need to kind of educate them regarding this.
You see, I even disagree with you that the youths are not in power. You can't call the chairman of Governors Forum, Dr. Kayode Fayemi, an old man. He's under 60. No, it's true. Most of the people, the governor of Ogun State only just turned 60 last month, and he's been trying since he was a young man. He made it eventually. A lot of the governors, Peter Obi is not 60 yet. He's been governor for 8 years, and he almost became a vice president. If they won the last election, if Atiku had won, he would have been vice president. He's under 60. So it is not entirely true. Seyi Makinde, the governor of Oyo State, I think is about 55 now. So it's not true. When people talk about youth, it's not about age. You can be a young man and be a useless leader. Age does not guarantee you being a good leader. Yes, someone just mentioned Shina Pella. Shina Pella is 40-something, I'm sure, right now.
So why I said what I said earlier, because I know that Gowon became a president at 29, and even Murtala Mohammed became the head of state at 27.
That's a military regime. That was taking power by force. But we're talking about in elections. But I am telling you, there has never been a time that you don't have young people in power. It has never happened. You've had young people in power, but what did they make of it? You will see that even some youths are far worse than the old men. What the Awolowos could not do in their time, what the Azikiwes could not do. The Azikiwes will not steal money. The Awolowos will not steal money the way people are stealing it today. Young people are in power, and they are just bastardizing, the opportunities.
Thank you so much for that. So let me see if I can pick one or two questions from followers before I go on with other question.
Someone
Someone said,
spoke, I was reading it, someone spoke about restructuring. I'm interested in it. Someone asked me,
okay.
yeah, if I ask you, what's your view on restructuring of Nigeria? It's very important. It's a very, very important question. And
Yeah.
the answer is yes, I believe in restructuring. But if you ask 10 million Nigerians the meaning of restructuring, they will probably give you different versions. So my
True.
own version of it is very simple, is that we must restructure Nigeria in a way where there will be some semblance of equality. We may not be exactly perfectly equal, but there must be some semblance of equality. A situation where you have a leader who wants to make appointments and all the appointments come from one part. You see, the way Nigeria is a multi-ethnic society would ordinarily suggest that we must be sensitive. We must be sensitive to the nationalities. There are different nationalities that make up one nation called Nigeria. So if, for example, I'm the president of Nigeria now, there is no way all my security chiefs will come from a particular place. It's one of the things that made me to say, no, I cannot follow the APC leader again. I was never a member of their party, but I supported Buhari. And on every platform I've spoken in recent times, I have pleaded with him that, Baba, you have less than 3 years to leave office. The best thing you can do I'm not even expecting electricity again. I'm not expecting roads again. But don't leave Nigeria disunited. Any leader who does not work for the unity of Nigeria cannot claim to like Nigeria.
Absolutely.
Because eventually, what you will be leaving behind is a state of anarchy. That is why you have some people now asking for Biafra. Some people are now asking for Oduduwa Republic. It's because they don't feel comfortable. They are no longer comfortable. And they can see that this thing has been on since the domination of Nigeria, has been on since the time of Azikiwe, of Awolowo, and it's getting worse. That is why there is so much agitation. So the restructuring I want now is for the man who is in the saddle of power to reflect even on the gains of June 12th. If you are the one that honored Abiola, why did you honor him? What made Abiola special? Why did Abiola win election across Nigeria? It was because he believed in the unity and the indivisibility of Nigeria. Why is Chief Olusegun Obasanjo still relevant today globally? After Mandela, I will say confidently that Obasanjo is the most respected and respectable African globally alive today. Why?
True.
Because you can say everything about Obasanjo, you cannot call him a tribalist. In fact, the Yorubas opposed him more than others. There was a time Obasanjo lost election in most of the Yoruba states because people believed that it was not favoring, and that is how a statesman should behave.
Indeed.
So I am pleading. This is not a fight. This is not a criticism. I am pleading as one of Buhari's supporters in 2015 that the greatest favor he can do for himself, for his family, for Nigeria, for Africa, and humanity is to make sure that Nigeria does not disintegrate under him. That's all. That's all.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for that submission. Thank you so much, sir. So let me still see if I can pick one or two questions from our followers. I struggle with all these things. I said, can Nigeria ever? Someone is asking, can Nigeria ever be better? I don't know. I'm struggling.
Yeah, I saw it.
Can Nigeria ever
I
be
saw the
better again?
question. Oh,
Yeah.
of course, the last thing a man loses before he dies is hope. I have hope that Nigeria can be better. And I have confidence, not just hope, that Nigeria can change in 6 months if you have a leader who is truly committed to changing Nigeria for the better and not for the worse. If you have someone, trust me, the first thing I've said that Nigerians want is unity. When Buhari won his election, there was so much excitement in 2015 before he got hijacked by the so-called cabal. The election, people believed that it was generally peaceful, and even if there were a few skirmishes here and there, that Buhari truly won. That was the closest, the nearest election to June 12th. Okay? But he blew it. And how did he blow it? He blew it by beginning to now act like a local champion instead of an international superstar. You see, the moment you favor your own people above others, there is no way the rest of the people are not going to follow you. And the rest of Nigeria would always be bigger than your own tiny community. That's life. Even if you, let me tell you, and it's very easy, even if you want to favor your own people, there are ways you can do it that you will not make it so obvious. But where you say, I don't care, the next thing after unity is the rule of law. You must obey. The moment you carry either your Bible or your Quran or whatever you used to swear, the day you become the president of a country, you become the father of that country.
The nation. Yeah.
A father, there are times my children will come to me, but dad, who is your favorite? Only a foolish dad will point at one and say, you are my favorite. You will say, I love all of you equally. They will say, it's not true. My last son. So I've settled that the only way to settle that fight is to pick the last one, since it's the baby of the house. So anytime they are saying, who is the favorite? I say it's the last one. Of course, his bones cannot fight him, because they have to show him that they are older. So it's like that with politics. The moment you become the president, you are no longer the president of APC. You are the president of every Nigerian. As a matter of fact, what I call the floaters party, the population of the floaters party is far larger than PDP and APC and all the parties combined. You understand?
Please, when am I coming for history lesson? I need to come. I need to register for a history lesson.
No, people have challenged me. I
must
find time to write, because we are almost doing 1 hour already. We have only 7 minutes left. You know, so for me, I can tell you that I am praying that God will enter the hearts of our leaders. For me, I prefer to be a part of a bigger Nigeria, okay, than a splintered Nigeria. Why is Nigeria very important, very influential in the Committee of Nations? It's because of our size, our population, the largest black population on earth. Everybody knows about Nigeria, but by the time you have Oduduwa Republic, some people will struggle for the next 20 years to remember what that means. By the time you say you are Biafra, some people will struggle